Hey guys, and welcome back to War Thunder. It's KrebsCOHO here, and I thought today, in today's video, we would take out one of these brand new spanking vehicles that have come out in 1.57. We're taking out the DICKER Max. That's right, guys. We're taking it out into some realistic battles because, let's be fair, how often do I really do arcade battles anymore? Oh my god! Well, that's my first kill already that early into the game. That's amazing. Cromwell, be gone. By the way, if you guys are wondering, this is a post-commentary this time. What I was doing in this gameplay was, firstly, I wanted to try, whenever a new vehicle comes out, I always like to try it out in arcade first, because I find arcade is easier to get an idea of what a vehicle is actually like. And I came to the quick realization that taking out the DICKER Max is probably a bad idea in arcade. And it's always for the same reasons that it would be for any other vehicle. If you're in a vehicle that has survival issues, if you're in a vehicle that has a fixed mounted kind of turret like I do, well, it does kind of swivel. It's not 360 like rotatable turret kind of thing. Oh, another kill. That's amazing. Then playing a game mode like arcade is going to work against you. You're kind of going into the round with a handicap, and that's not exactly what you want to do. So what I try to do is I try to play to the best ability of the tank that I'm going out with. And in DICKER Max, I highly recommend that being realistic battles, because it's very important not being able to be seen. I mean, think about it historically. This was an ambush tank. So being able to not be highlighted from across the map is obviously gonna work in your favor. And what you're going to see a lot in, especially the beginning of this video, is a lot of camping. And I know some people are going to hate this. Maybe it's not to some people's style of tank, if they have to be sitting around a lot. But it is generally how the tank is meant to be played. So forgive me, if you will, that I'm going to be doing quite a bit of camping here. But it is highly effective, as you guys can see. I'm already knocking out a lot of tanks by simply defending this flank on Eastern Europe. When I'm playing realistic battles, I really don't like going down along the riverside on Eastern Europe. I just think it's the worst thing you could possibly do, going on this map in realistic battles, that is. Specifically realistic battles. It's because there's so many flanks in which the enemies can hit you. They can hit you in front of you, and if you're towards the more center of the map where the bridge crossing is, then they can hit you from your sides, both on the left and also on the right across the river. So I don't really like going down there in realistic battles, and most basically because I don't know who is going to be on my flanks or in front of me. Whereas if I'm in an arcade battle, at least I know when somebody's going to be on my side or in front of me, because they get highlighted for me. So that's very important, and hence why in the DICKER Max I opted to go on this flank outside the city to try and take on the enemies. And just using it as like a kind of defending tank, you know, not trying to push up too far. Well, apart from what's going on now, I thought what might have been the case is, you know, I've killed so many enemies up in front of me. I hit a lot of them, crippled some, so maybe that cleared out a lot of them. I did notice that there was a bit of smoke coming out from behind this house. Not kind of like fire smoke, but cannon shell smoke. And that had to mean that there were enemies hidden behind this building. And so that's why I pushed on up to them. This is going to actually work against me, because the thing about the DICKER Max is that it's also a long-range based tank. Take it like this. It's a tank that comes out at battle rating 4.3. And in general, you could say that at lower tiers, reload speeds on vehicles tend to be quicker. Not really so for the DICK. The DICK has a reload speed of about 14 seconds. So comparatively against other vehicles in similar tier, that's actually relatively long. That is actually pretty damn long. So getting into a close counter situation is exactly what you don't want to happen in the DICK. So, oh my dearie me, I've really knocked out quite a few of them, haven't I? That Cromwell is severely crippled. Actually, I've been really finding it more difficult to knock out tanks completely at lower, in this new patch. Because I think they've introduced that system where if you have only one crew member alive in a vehicle, then you can still operate the vehicle. It's just you can't do anything unless you switch the roles in the vehicle. So this Cromwell, I'm pretty sure I've knocked out everything within his vehicle apart from the driver. Hence why he's not firing at me, and hence why he's not dead. In the previous patch, he'd be dead by now. He'd be long gone with only a single crew member in there. So it's kind of a frustrating thing. It's like the tank is so badly crippled he can't really do anything. But then this happens. Whereas that normally would have been my kill in the previous patch, somebody knocked him out and I got the kill assist, even though I did pretty much the majority of the damage. Now take a look at that. It wasn't even the enemy vehicle that finished me off. It was actually a kill-stealing bomber. That's hilarious. I absolutely find that funny. That bombers and planes in realistic battles are doing these naughty things, trying to get these kill steals. So again, going back into my Dicker Max again, taking a look what's going down along the southern flank of the city. And there we go. That appears to be a sort of a small vehicle, what I would assume to be a Locust. And rather than just taking my shot here, I want to measure the distance. Too bad my rangefinder is kind of stupid and it's measuring the distance of the fence. How does that work? I don't want the fence, for God's sake. I don't know, it must have like got measured to the bars or something on the fence. So I didn't listen to the 100 meters. It obviously had to be more than that. Adjusted accordingly and finished off the Locust. Now this tank has a very powerful shell in it. Has very powerful APCBC shells that do over 200 millimeters of armor penetration. At this low battle rating of 4.3, that's what can happen. Look at that. Tanks like the Sherman get absolutely obliterated. But the funny thing is, I find it actually, it's like a double-edged sword. If it's like a big tank like the Sherman, you knock him out in one shot. Whereas in smaller vehicles like that Locust, it was about, what, 3 shots to knock him out? Not to say that 3 shots is bad or anything to knock out a vehicle, that's completely acceptable, but in the Dicker Max, where it takes about 14 seconds to reload your cannon, and also given the fact the cannon is 10.5 centimeters, that you would kind of expect that whatever you shoot, especially those smaller targets, and I mean especially those smaller targets, would die in one shot. But maybe it's because of like over penetration. I'm not exactly sure what it is. That's just the general impression of what I've gotten so far, taking out the Dicker Max. But take a look at this. I ended up dying here, but okay, I know where he was. He was right there, but I just didn't see him at all. I really shouldn't have fired my gun until it was repaired. I should have held back. That's a bad habit that I have in arcade. That's come over from arcade, rather. And rather than that enemy tank killing me, guess what it was again? A kill-stealing plane. So I didn't want to end it there. I mean, it was a decent enough game, even just for, what, 6 kills in the Dicker Max? That's a pretty good game by any standard, but this game actually went on a lot longer, so there's not going to be any more Dicker Max for the rest of this round. It's going to be just what happened for the rest of the round, because it did turn out to be really intense. I mean, look at this! What's one of the worst things that could happen to you when you just spawned in a new vehicle? Well, you could get that. Rockets flung at you in every direction and already knocking out most of my crew. I'm already down to a 2-man crew and I just spawned in. Leave me alone. I think that's the P-47 that killed me in my Dicker Max. Now he's coming for... Oh, he's coming for me. That's actually not a bad idea. Kill somebody and then go straight to the spawn because he's probably going to spawn in again. But you know what? I want revenge. Take some machine gun fire. Wow. I have no idea if that was because of me or if he was going to crash into the ground anyway. But let's just assume that my machine gun fire crippled his plane to such an extent that he flew into the ground. Let's assume that, okay? Makes me feel good. So I continued up my merry way along the outside of the map. Again, just what I prefer doing in realistic battles. And just trying to see what there actually is. Now, spot the Sherman. Did you actually spot that Sherman before he fired his gun? Huh. I didn't. I really didn't. I could see people pointing about it on the mini-map, but I just couldn't see it. And that's just one of those things about realistic battles, isn't it? Sometimes you just don't see enemies. Even though, in hindsight, when you look at the recording or whatever it might be, you say, oh my god, it's just, he was right there. But in the heat of the moment, you know, Sherman can be mingled in with the shadows of a tree and the foliage, the colors, and you just don't see it. Look at this. I love this footage. This looks absolutely awesome. For some reason, this looks like one of those videos you would watch on Live Leak of like a tank destroying a far-off object. You know, a vehicle in the far distance. That looked so cool. Easy kill as well. So at this stage of the match, it's getting more into the late term game where a lot of people have died, both on our team, their team. They've exited the match, they spawned into a new match, and so we are the remaining forces versing each other. And I'm trying to do my work on the ground. Notice how KrebsCOHO never goes into planes. I don't know why, guys. Do you personally go into planes in realistic battles? I don't know, I just don't ever go around to it. Not to say that I hate it, but I don't know. I feel like on the ground I have a more direct role, whereas in the air it's kind of like you're a supporting role, destroying ground targets. You don't really capture anything. I don't know. I just feel on the ground you're doing more direct things. So my teammate was actually capping this their cap zone, and that Sherman that was taking him on, I damaged him, but he ended up getting the kill. Now he ended up getting killed by, guess what, a plane. So these planes have turned out to be really big nuisances in this match. Here I am continuing the cap of the enemy zone, and there I see a bomber in the distance. Oh, hello there. Little SPAA. Oh no, he caught me on fire. These little buggers are so annoying. Lucky for me though, I've actually knocked out, I believe, his horizontal axes. So yeah, he's having trouble with just even hitting me properly right now, and that's ideal, especially when you come against an SPAA. Because what they're going to do is look for those vulnerabilities in your tank. They're going to look for those weak areas to try and shoot at. So if you can knock out that horizontal axis or the vertical, oh dear, they are going to have such a hard time doing work against you. As that SPA did. But, oh man, I've ran out of fire extinguishers, guys. Remember I used that first one when the rockets came down on me, and now the second one against the armored car. So the third one, oh, well, we're stuffed. God damn it. Why didn't we take a third fire extinguisher? We need to be cautious. Third time unlucky. Spawning in yet again in another vehicle. This is my fourth spawn. I kind of earned it. I got a lot of kills, including plane kills. So I kind of earned all the points necessary to keep on spawning. And this time, because they were capping our zone, I figured, well, they're going to be near the respawn point, so I got to be a little bit careful. I've already got a guy on there. It's just another SPAA. And look how hard it is to actually finish these vehicles off now. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Because vehicles can be alive with just one person inside, you have to be really, really specific about where you shoot from that stage onwards. Because you don't exactly know where they are unless you look at the X-ray camera. So that's another SPAA down. Time to move in. See what kind of work I can do. T-34 is just in the vicinity. Uh-oh. Planes. Biplane? What era am I in? I thought this was World War II. Hey man, whatever. Take a cannon shell. That was amazing. I wish they'd make the collisions a little bit better in this game though. Like, the parts of the plane going everywhere and would remain there, and then buildings collapse. That would be really cool. Uh-oh. Bomber time again. God damn, I swear I'm trying to defend myself more against bombers than I am against actual ground units. That's the impression that I'm getting. It's so easy for them to spot you as well when you're on the ground. It's just like you're sticking out like a sore thumb. They can see you from miles away, almost. Okay, well, I dodged one bomb, so I surely must be good, right? Oh god. He's coming in for another run, isn't he, KrebsCOHO? What are you gonna do, KrebsCOHO? Back off or go forward? Either way, you're screwed. Oh shit! Run! Run, run, run! Oh no! I honestly think what I should have done, I should have kept on reversing. Two reasons. Although reversing is kind of slow, slower than going forward, obviously. I was kind of committed to that originally, and also the thing is, shrapnel is less likely to destroy my tank or blow it up if it hits the front of my tank rather than the rear, because the rear has the fuel tanks, the engine, a high likelihood of blowing up essentially. So if the shrapnel went through the front, maybe it would have just killed my driver or something and my machine gunner, and I would have survived most likely. So unfortunately, did not do that, and I died. captured the zone, worked our way up to their cap zone. And these bombers, my god. There's an impression to get here, guys. These bombers just won't leave us alone. Oh! That was way too close. That was way too close. He still did a lot of damage. Check that out. The shrapnel must have went straight into the tracks because my tracks are a dark sort of red or orange even. And he's got another bomb. My god, how many bombs do you have? Die! Look! And it's one of those bombs that go underneath the ground. Those are the most scariest ones because you don't know if you're far enough away to be protected from them. If they go underneath the ground, they could still explode just as if they were on the surface and, well, end up killing you. Now this turned out to be a very, very long game. I actually... the full timer went out. There was a lot of cutscene skips, not cutscene skips, but skips and splicing of the footage in this video, but you'll see the timer actually ended up dwindling completely. Now, if I didn't end up capping the zone just as the game was about to finish, I'm not sure if that would have been a draw or what would have happened. I'm not sure. Actually, it comes down to points, doesn't it? I wasn't paying attention to the points, but we're gonna say that if I didn't cap the cap zone, then we would have lost. Look at that. See, we won. Maybe that was because of my act right there, just managing to decap the zone right at the very end. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe we would have won regardless of that fact. But in the end, KrebsCOHO, 10 kills, 1 friendly ground unit kill. I have no idea how that happened. I'm not sure if you guys seen that. I got a friendly ground unit kill. How the hell? But in the end, those were the results. A really intense game. A lot of kills. DICKER Max is a nice tank. And in the end, if you want to play successfully with it, I would highly recommend going into an ambush style sort of role, and especially medium to long range firing. Don't do close quarter situations like I did in my first life of the DICKER Max. It could just lead to kind of bad things happening as it did. So, oh yeah, another thing, open top, be careful. Be very, very careful. Planes can come down, swoop down, and knock out those guys simply with just bullets. That can be a bad thing. Alright guys, DICKER Max, good tank. Until the next video, hope you guys enjoyed. Until then, this is KrebsCOHO, and I'll catch you guys later.